I'm going to only speak once. There's 7 bills. Time is short. We have just a few days left in the legislature until we shut down government if we don't act. We passed 3 out of the appropriation bills that we're supposed to pass. And my understanding that the one we've had under consideration is not going to be brought to a final passage. I may be incorrect in that, but that's the understanding. At least there's some talk about that. This Congress has been the worst Congress for federal employees which I've served. The gentleman who spoke before me says he ran a business. If you treated your employees as we're treating our employees, they would have all quit. They would have all walked out. They would have said that the epithets that are used to bureaucrats spit out as a pejorative term for the people who make this government run. I don't know whether the gentleman read in the paper today, but 2 of our largest financial institutions fined very heavily for misconduct. Do people do things wrong? They do. They do them wrong in the private sector. They do them wrong from time to time in the public sector. Should we be concerned about that? We should be. Should we exercise kind of behavior from the private and public sectors? Absolutely. But I will tell you that these bills, and some of them are okay, they're somewhat redundant. The bill the gentleman speaks of, I just got on the floor when he was speaking, so I don't know exactly what the circumstances are in terms of his being, obviously from his perspective, threatened by the fact that somebody was going to record. I understand his concern about that. I understand his concern about it as well. Frankly, if they'd called me and done that, I would have said, very frankly, I'm going to hang up and I'll talk to you later with my lawyer, and you're welcome to meet with me. I'm a lawyer, so I would have advised you to do that. But that does not explain the torrent of anti-government workers that we have seen from this Congress, and frankly, to some degree from the last Congress. Now, they can't strike, and because they have to support their families, they can't walk out. They don't have many tools. They have us, of course, who represent many of them, to stand up for their rights, but much more importantly, for respect from their employer, which they're not getting. I would ask my friend if he can come with me, and I was down at Pax River, a big naval base, about the 20% cut that we've asked people to pay. They perceive because of our dysfunction, because we can't get our job done here. Not because of anything they did wrong, not because of a lack of performance. And I will tell my friend, Mr. Kelly, that an awful lot of my folks are saying, we want to be in work. We've got guys at the point of the spear relying on us, and we're not able to work on Fridays. But they're still fighting on Fridays. They're still at risk on Fridays. And so when they see these bills, I tell my friend, it's a gotcha reaction they have. We'll get them. You didn't like being recorded. So your response is to do what you didn't like to them. Now, my response would, if I were them, would say, sorry, Mr. Kelly, I can't talk to you. You're going to record me? I'm not going to talk to you. We'll write it and we'll put it down in paper. We'll do whatever. But as you were concerned about that effort, understand they're concerned as well. Now, as I said, some of these bills, there's 7 of them, or 8 of them. 4 more aren't too bad. 3 of them, obviously, going at undermining due process. The gentleman talks about being concerned. One of the bills on this says no due process. You're fired because I think you did something wrong. Not because I proved you did something wrong. Not because maybe you did do something wrong, but because I think you did something wrong. You're off, and you're off with no pay. You're off with no pay. So we have a series of bills here. Maybe the gentleman's asking Mr. Issa whether, in fact, that's one of the bills, but I assure him it is. So, Mr. Speaker, I suggest, am I out of time?
Gentleman's time has expired.
I have one additional minute.
You go to the gentleman in 1 minute.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I would suggest we're the employer, we're the board of directors. And yes, if we see somebody doing something wrong, and I think, frankly, in the IRS case, we haven't proved it yet, a lot of assertions, but not much proof, that we don't go head over heels denigrating those folks on whom we rely to carry out the very policies we adopt. Do we need oversight? Of course. Do we need honesty in performance of public duties? Absolutely. But we also need respect and consideration shown for those who work for America. The best civil service in the world, the most competent, best educated civil service in the world, and we treat them as second-rate citizens. We ought not to do that. We ought to reject this bill, certainly the Jenkins bill, and a number of others of these bills. Let us think of our federal employees. Because if we don't, we won't have the kind of government that America deserves and wants. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Maryland.